Today I'm reacting to your wrestling hot takes. Hot Takes is a weekly video series where I give you all a platform to be able to voice your thoughts, good or bad, about the current world of professional wrestling. So if you want to be included in next week's Hot Takes video, make sure that you're following me on X. The link will be in the description of this video. I ask for your hot take every single Friday. And as always, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, ring the bell for notifications. If you're a wrestling fan, I know that you're going to fall in love with this YouTube channel because we always upload daily wrestling content. I'm telling you, it's like clockwork here. Even when we come close to missing a day of uploading because I get sick or I get busy, the daily video still comes out. Death, taxes, and a daily wrestling video from Santi's app. That's the rules here. Also, thank you for almost getting us to 250,000 subscribers. This is absolutely crazy to think about. All right, let's get started and read your stupid shit. The use of blood coming back to WWE is being used in such a great way. Like Triple H said, using it sparingly makes the moments where it does happen feel that important. I have to absolutely agree with you. Nowadays, if I see blood in the WWE, I gasp, oh heavens me, and clutch my pearls because I'm not used to seeing the blood. So when I do see it, I feel like something bad is happening, like something that I shouldn't be seeing is happening, something that shouldn't be on TV is being shown on TV. So I absolutely agree that anytime right now that we're seeing blood in the WWE, it's an incredibly impactful storytelling device. And I compare that back to the days of the Ruthless Aggression era where there was blood on pretty much every single show, and it is entirely different in how they're using blood in today's wrestling. And me personally, I enjoy the sparing use of this plot device because it really, like you said, makes it feel that much more important. That's why, honestly, Jon Moxley matches have become kind of meme-worthy because you breathe on Jon Moxley and the man just bleeds everywhere. So it stops being a good narrative device for his matches because it just sort of becomes the norm, what you expect, basically like a suplex. Blood in a Jon Moxley match is like a suplex in a regular wrestling match at this point. But in the WWE, if you're seeing blood, you know it's a big major moment. I haven't seen a champion held to a higher standard than Cody Rhodes in a long time. People are actually calling him boring after not even having held the title for 2 weeks. So there's a couple things that you mentioned here, him being held to a ridiculously high standard and him being called boring by a subsection of fans. So I want to tackle both of those. The people that are calling him boring because he hasn't defended his title in 2 weeks because he's only done promos, y'all need to chill out. What are you expecting from Cody Rhodes at this point? Like really, genuinely, going into Backlash right before a draft, do you really want him to get into a major heated storyline where they might just get separated during the draft anyhow? That's the problem with this current state of professional wrestling. Like right after WrestleMania, between WrestleMania and Backlash, there's always this lull where you know that a lot of the narratives that are happening right before the draft don't really matter in the grand scheme of things because they're going to be ended by the separation of the superstars. And that's the case here with Cody Rhodes. Like, yeah, he can't really get into this major program because who knows if the guy that he gets into a program with is even going to be on the same show as him within a couple of weeks. I'm personally okay with him not defending the title every single Raw. I appreciate that the title is going to be on Backlash because guess what? It wasn't at the previous year's Backlash and it wasn't at the previous year's Backlash either. So even if you aren't getting this Cody Rhodes title defense every single week, we're still getting the title way more than we ever have over the past like 2.5 years. And when it comes to him being held to a really high standard, honestly, what can you expect? He dethroned the longest reigning WWE champion in the modern era of the WWE. I'm sorry, but that's the burden that comes with beating Roman Reigns. That's why we had so many people that we would say, nah, they can't be the one to dethrone the tribal chief. Nah, they can't be the one to dethrone Gunther because they can't bear the burden of following up such a historic title reign. So that's the reason why Cody Rhodes is held to such a high standard, and I think it is fair to hold him to that ridiculously high standard. But just because we're holding him to a high standard doesn't justify people holding him to unrealistic standards like defending the title on every single episode of Raw and SmackDown. Solo has had the most aura he has had ever in his career. I wouldn't be surprised if he would have a one-on-one match with Roman Reigns to determine the quote true tribal chief in the near future. That's definitely where they're going. I think that they're going into a realm where Paul Heyman and Roman Reigns are gonna come back to a completely different bloodline as babyfaces. We've talked about this before on this channel. That is called in narrative the Fallen King storyline. The guy that used to rule everything being exiled, and then when he comes back to take power, everything is different, the leadership is different. That's the narrative that now they need to tell with the bloodline. If you want to know like the most famous Fallen King storyline, it's literally the Lion King. Not saying that Roman Reigns is Simba, but it's like similar like allegories and storytelling mechanics. But absolutely, this is where they have to lead to, and they are doing a fantastic job of making Solo Sikoa genuinely feel like an actual tribal chief, which is kind of ridiculous and very impressive of WWE and Triple H to make this leap happen, considering this man was a professional loser, like a 90-match losing streak after beating John Cena. And this guy has the nerve to sit there and say that losing has consequences. But jokes aside, like they have absolutely rebuilt, restructured, reimagined Solo Sikoa to a point where for the first time, I care. We are in a limbo state right now and everything seems a little dull, but that's because they're cooking up something massive to roll out in the next few months. Z-Queen, I kind of already talked about this. It is the post-WrestleMania hangover that is between WrestleMania and the draft, where everything that happens in between is limbo land, because in a lot of cases, it won't matter what happens in that like 4-week stretch, because after that, like they can't follow it up because they might not be on the same shows. It's a problem that the WWE deals with almost every single year that they've had the draft, but I think it's a necessary problem because the draft is really important. I think perhaps maybe the solution is to not announce the draft and just like, the draft is this week, like at Backlash announced that the draft starts on Monday and Friday, because announcing it like 3 weeks in advance puts us in this particular limbo state that you're talking about, where fans know for a fact that there's no way that Cody Rhodes is going to lose to AJ Styles. Not that like not having the draft would make us believe otherwise, but it would make things a little bit more believable, and it would make us believe that they can actually stretch this for a longer period of time as opposed to just being a holdover feud until the actual draft happens. So yes, I'm with you. We're in a bit of a limbo right now. Cody versus AJ will be a banger of a match. The buildup, however, will not be that great considering there's only 2 weeks left until Backlash. Yeah, the buildup is one of those casualties of this limbo state that we've been talking about here for the better part of this video now. But yeah, Cody versus AJ will absolutely be a banger. Will it have the drama where we think that Cody Rhodes is gonna lose? Absolutely not. And it's because of this limbo state, and it's also because we just know that Cody Rhodes has other bigger fish to fry moving forward. That's part of the problem, believe it or not, with him teasing this match with The Rock in the future, and The Rock teasing that he loves how the title looks on him, because you just know that in the future it's gonna be Cody Rhodes versus The Rock, which does remove a lot of the drama, a lot of the what ifs of AJ Styles versus Cody Rhodes at Backlash. It'll still be a great match though, with probably a really hot crowd too. Any guy who tried to body shame Sheamus should have to post a shirtless pic, fella. I like this. This should be just a golden rule of the internet. If you're gonna talk shit, we need to know what you look like. But realistically, I said this on Twitter. I said that if you're trying to fat shame Sheamus, then you are somebody that's never lifted a weight in their life. It's called the cut and the bulk season for a reason, and I think that we just had our Celtic Warrior go through a nice healthy bulk there. On top of that, he's in his 40s. He just came off of major surgery. Apparently he got recalled back early before he could really cut down. So if anything, we should just be grateful that we have Sheamus. But Sheamus is in better shape than probably 99.99999 repeating percent of people on this planet, really. He's just extra lovable right now. Hook versus Jinder Mahal on AEW will be a generational beef. Okay, first of all, I'm so sad that Jinder Mahal has gone from the WWE. Like, that sucks. No ifs, ands, or buts. I see people being like, oh, it doesn't matter if he got released. He wasn't being used anyway. Dude, this is still somebody losing their job, so I don't think anyone should be cheering anything. But if this means that Jinder Mahal is going to get more screen time somewhere else, then if anything, this is further proof why we need places like AEW, places like New Japan, and places like TNA to really be able to thrive. And shout out to Matt Cardona for really being a pioneer for how these WWE guys can live post WWE and be really successful in the independents. Right now, it's like the best time to be a free agent professional wrestler because the options are so great. If he does go to AEW, I fear, honestly, that Tony Khan is just gonna wanna win this Twitter beef and just feed Jinder Mahal to Hook, because I don't know, Twitter beefs for God's sake. So I actually hope he doesn't go to AEW. I would personally rather see him do a run in the indies or TNA or something. Because we've seen Tony Khan, the man is petty, and he will bury Jinder Mahal just to be able to say that he buried him. He won that Twitter beef. Fellas, it's no secret that quitting a bad habit is hard, but it doesn't have to be. And I'm not talking about some spooky Undertaker magic either. In fact, we're talking about our sponsor for today's video, Fume, and they look at the problem in an entirely different way. Not everything in a bad habit is wrong, so instead of a drastic, uncomfortable change, why not just remove the bad from the habit? Fume is an innovative, award-winning flavored air device that does just that. Instead of being electronic, Fume is completely natural. Instead of vapor, Fume just uses flavored air. And instead of harmful chemicals, Fume uses all natural, delicious flavors. And there's a bunch of different flavors for you to choose from. I typically go for the mint, but recently I've been really digging the orange vanilla. Folks, you get it. Instead of bad, Fume is good. It's a habit you're now free to enjoy and makes replacing the bad habit easy. It ultimately helps fill the void in a natural, guilt-free way. Your Fume comes with an adjustable airflow dial and is designed with movable parts and magnets for fidgeting, which gives your fingers and your hands something to do and fidget with, which is helpful for de-stressing while breaking a bad habit. Stopping is something that we all put off because it's hard, but switching to Fume is easy and enjoyable and even fun. Fume has already served over 150,000 customers and has thousands of success stories, and there's no reason why that next success story can't be you. So join Fume in accelerating humanity's breakup from destructive habits by picking up the Journey Pack today. So head over to tryfume.com/Mr. Santi's app, or just scan the QR code that's already on screen and use code Mr. Santi's app to get 10% off of your Journey Pack today. Again, that's tryfume.com and use code Mr. Santi's app to save that additional 10% off on your order. Thank you once again to our friends at Fume who continue to support this channel. Now back to the video. It was time for WWE to let Xia Li go. She had been in WWE for 7 years and it just wasn't working for her. Here's what's weird. When they actually use Xia Li, and again, I don't have any backstage information, I'm just a fan sitting on the couch like me and you, but I think we can agree when they actually used her on Raw and in NXT a couple of months ago, she was a great addition to the regular rotation of women's wrestlers. It was very bizarre to have her be in a marquee feud with Becky Lynch, go down for the NXT Women's Championship, feud with Tegan Nox, knock out people like Indy Hartwell and Candice LeRae, and then all of a sudden, poof, she disappeared. So I don't know what's going on in the back. All I know is that that was really my first extended look at Xia Li, and I personally really liked what we saw from her. So it was a really weird stop push for Xia Li that just kind of disappeared. So I who knows what's going on in the back, but to me, she's a really, really great talent that clearly demonstrated that if she's given an opportunity, she can be a great asset to any wrestling company. Cody is gonna kill this company. He is still second behind the Bloodline. Bloodline is the only story that anyone cares about. Well, Bloodline is the only really long-term story that they're telling at the moment, because everything else is in this Backlash to WWE draft lull that we've been talking about. But because the Bloodline storyline, the narrative really transcends at this point space and time when it comes to WWE lore, yeah, because everything else is in a lull and the Bloodline isn't, the Bloodline is actually pushing forward with new members and new feuds and new storylines, a bunch of new what ifs, a bunch of new questions, then yeah, it's gonna be the most interesting thing going on in the WWE. But by no means does this mean that Cody Rhodes is gonna kill the company. Again, the way that I see it is that that championship wouldn't be appearing on the show, period. Again, I get it that he's not wrestling. He will eventually get back to being a more regular performer in the actual ring on Friday Night SmackDown or Raw or whatever it is that he ends up being. But even if he isn't performing in the ring, we've still seen the WWE Championship more than ever before. I just don't get this narrative that he's gonna kill the company. It's a bit of a stretch. No, not a bit of a stretch. That's a ridiculous stretch. Becky returns this Monday and wins the Women's World Championship. Too predictable, man. Do you really think that it's predictable with Becky Lynch, who hasn't re-signed with the WWE? And I know there's a big scramble to make sure that she does re-sign and doesn't end up going to like AEW. I don't think it's a foregone conclusion that it's gonna be Becky Lynch by any means. Like, I look at at the landscape of women's wrestling right now and the people that were announced, funnily enough, Xia Li was announced for this over-the-top battle royal, but we have people like Nia Jax, who I think is a very, very genuine threat to win this. We have, of course, probably the internet favorite to win this whole thing in Liv Morgan, so there are options for sure outside of Becky Lynch. But now that you mentioned Becky Lynch, she might be a great option to win this, because whoever wins this championship isn't really going to be taken a heck of a whole lot too seriously, because they didn't beat Rhea for it. And that doesn't really damage somebody like Becky Lynch, because Becky Lynch already has the resume to be able to prove, yeah, I'm an absolutely worthy champion. But if somebody like Liv Morgan were to win it, who I do think should be women's world champion sooner rather than later, I feel like at this stage would be a little bit too quick. Although maybe it adds to the heel persona that they might be working with Liv Morgan by saying that, hey, yeah, she did ultimately become the world champion, took everything away from Rhea Ripley, and she didn't even need to pin Rhea Ripley. So again, there's options here. In 2 weeks, Sami Zayn had two of the best entrances of all time. Dude, these entrances where they're following the WWE superstars backstage into the actual entrance has been absolutely brilliant. And I think I know why. I think it makes it feel like we're right there with them and that we're getting to experience something that we're traditionally not supposed to see as fans. So it just adds to that personal element of like, I want to get behind this guy because I've now learned a bit more of his motivations on his way to the ring. I now know how he feels as a wrestler as he goes out into the ring. I can feel his nervousness. I can feel his excitement as he walks to the ring. So I hope that they continue to do these for major special matches throughout Raw, SmackDown, or PLEs, because they've been absolutely brilliant. What they did with Sami Zayn in Montreal, that was absolutely amazing. And frankly, it was the entrance that he had at WrestleMania that kind of saved that WrestleMania match, because it did all of the buildup for that WrestleMania match, and it did it way better than the actual weeks leading into WrestleMania, because by the end of that entrance, I was fully on board with all of Sami Zayn's motivations. So shout out to the WWE production team for taking this road, because it's been a really nice one. WWE really needs to listen to the fans here. Def Rebel has cost people pops and made big names feel small due to the fact that they have basic themes. It's time to part ways with them. Here's the thing, I will never be somebody that calls for somebody's job, but there is a time and there is a place where fans have collectively come together and said something isn't working. It's something that is just off, that is ruining or making the experience not as good as it should be. And I feel like the last time that this happened was the SmackDown commentator Kevin Patrick, where we didn't hate Kevin Patrick. It's just like, man, the commentary work is taking away from what's happening in the ring, because I should be a lot more excited. And I feel like it's happening again, because everyone in the community is coming together to say that these entrance themes from Def Rebel are really bad, and they are. They kind of make some of these WWE superstars feel like creator wrestlers in WWE 2K with superstar generic theme number 3. Just listen to Braun Breaker's most recent theme. And one of the problems with these Def Rebel themes is that rather than allowing the music help create the pop, they're trying to add these like catchphrases at the beginning of people's theme songs, because personally, I think they know that their songs aren't good enough to generate the pop and to be instantly recognizable, so they have to add All Rise to Damian Priest's theme song. They have to add Role Model to Bayley's theme. They have to add Final Boss Engage to The Rock's theme. They have to add Tiffy Time to Tiffany Stratton's theme, and they have to add New Catch Republic to the New Catch Republic. It's like, dude, it's shit. Like, it is, it's bad music. And they're just using those catchphrases as a crutch to try and create a pop and create instant recognition of who the superstar is that's about to come out, as opposed to letting their music do the job for them. The backstage camera angles to the arena have been making WWE more enjoyable to watch. Yeah, we kind of talked about this, so I'll be super quick. It's because it feels like we're there. It's because it feels like we're seeing something that we're not supposed to see. And it's because it feels like we are able to better emotionally connect with what's happening backstage. So I hope they keep this forever. Don't be surprised if we see every wrestling organization start to copy this, because we're already seeing it down in NXT, and I'm sure AEW is going to follow suit, TNA, New Japan, because it clearly is a format that works. If CM Punk did not get injured, Drew McIntyre would not be in the spot he is in right now and might have left the company and not re-signed. That's actually a really interesting butterfly effect, because I don't really see too many holes in what you're saying here. Because if CM Punk doesn't get hurt, we presumably get CM Punk versus Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania, with CM Punk presumably winning. It's possible that after that we would have done CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre, but it wouldn't have felt like this awesome WrestleMania worthy feud that it does like right now. So this is a situation where the WWE took a shitty situation, they took lemons and they made the most delicious lemonade, because it has absolutely catapulted Drew McIntyre to the top of the card in my eyes. It's funny because CM Punk did say that I'm gonna make you more relevant than you've ever been. And I kind of think that he's keeping up to that truth. Not gonna lie, those SmackDown tag titles are a little bit of a throwback. Those are beautiful. Right there, folks. See, we know the WWE can be creative with titles. Those are beautiful titles. Those look like prestigious championships. Those look like something that could be in boxing, in UFC. They could be something that people want to strive to try and win, as opposed to a toy on a Walmart aisle. I kind of think that these new tag titles are the best looking tag titles in the WWE. Hey, that's not a bad video idea. Maybe tomorrow's video will be me ranking all of the different title designs, maybe across WWE, NXT, AEW. Look at that. I just came up with a video idea while making a video. That's meta as fuck. Solo is a hypocrite. He says losing has consequences and that consequences bring change, but yet he's 0-37 since defeating John Cena. Yeah. We're just gonna ignore that. I mean, that's gonna be the plan for the WWE at least. We do at some point have to put away our, actually glasses, as I'm literally wearing glasses, and just let the WWE do their thing. Because otherwise, if we just focus on the realism of things, then we're always gonna notice the ridiculousness in professional wrestling. So yeah, is Solo Sikoa, if we're looking at this objectively, was he a professional loser going 0-37? Is he being a hypocrite by saying losing has consequences and then all of a sudden trying to pretend like all those losses that he had didn't happen? Yeah, but in order to be able to enjoy what's about to come forward, we need to pretend like it didn't happen. And that's just being a wrestling fan. Cody Rhodes should lose the title to AJ Styles at Backlash. That's rich. Chad Gable as a heel is world champion material. I don't know that he's world champion material, but he's awesome, and I just can't wait to see what they're gonna do with him next. You know, we're talking about how this is the most interesting that Solo Sikoa has been. This is the most interesting that Chad Gable has ever been as well. Me, personally, if I had my way, I'd have him drop Alpha Academy, I'd have him break Tozawa's foot, I'd have him break Otis's ankle, I'd have him break Maxine's, I don't know, neck. No, okay, we can leave Maxine out of this. But I'd have him absolutely destroy Alpha Academy and team up with the Creed brothers and even Ivy Nile to create this awesome, super technical suplex machine tag team. Frankly, the Creed brothers are gonna do nothing else. They need to do this. I feel like this is the best way to have the Creed brothers be under the wing of a veteran talent in Chad Gable, learn from Chad Gable so that we can eventually elevate them to be main event caliber talent. So will Chad Gable be champion? Look, I don't know. And frankly, I don't care. I'm just excited to see what ride they're about to take us on with heel Chatty Daddy. The "We Want Roman" chants really does show that as soon as he comes back, he's gonna be the biggest babyface for a long time. Yeah, it has to be that way. Honestly, the only way that could get Roman Reigns to be a babyface was The Rock coming back, was this evolution of the bloodline with Solo Sikoa trying to take over. The WWE is hitting all of the right notes to make sure that when Roman comes back, he is the biggest babyface that this company has seen since John Cena. Something that they were trying to do with Roman Reigns in the big dog days. They're going to be able to do it just like that when Roman Reigns comes back. That's how much faith I have in the WWE, that Roman can go from the biggest heel in maybe professional wrestling history to one of the biggest baby faces in professional wrestling history. All right, folks, that's the hot takes for this week. Thanks so much for watching. I'm done. Get out of here.